Welcome to my Winter Munro Round update, week number 9. Time is moving on, and yeah, so this has been a week really of two halves. I spent the first half of the week up in the far north of Scotland, and I've spent the second half of the week back around Glen Shiel. So unfortunately this week, it is winter time. There has been a lot of really volatile weather, and once again it has continued to be from the west or northwest. And this has just brought again continual snow, low temperatures, sometimes really blizzarding conditions to the hills, and it's once again made the hills really pretty challenging. I am hiding behind the cairn from the wind, which is absolutely brutal and quite tough to get around. Always careful route selection, careful mountain choice. It's always been actually pretty tricky. So start of the week, myself and Helen went off up to the Northern Highlands for a quick tour of the Munros. And we started out by going to the Elephant Hut near Assynt, and we headed up Benmore, Assynt and Conneville. Now, so-called Storm Dennis came in the afternoon that we went for these two mountains, so we were actually up at I think 2:30 in the morning, out the door soon after, and on the mountain way before it got light to try and beat the storm. Benmore, Assynt and Conneville turned into some of the most humbling mountains I've been up. Incredibly atmospheric, just the most empty landscape in Assynt that you can imagine. And normally I don't go for these kind of cliches of the, or not cliches of the hills. I've been in the hills enough to not get shocked by them. But to see Assynt covered in snow, with this grey cloud sort of scraping the mountain tops and all this frontal weather just blowing in over the top of you, really made you feel very small, and I have to say it was quite overpowering. For moments I thought we wouldn't make the top of Benmore Assynt. We might get to Conneville and it might just become unbearable, you know, if winter weather gets too bad, which it absolutely can do. But with a bit of persistence, we got to Benmore Assynt okay. Summit of Benmore Assynt, good morning! Bloody wild! There you go. And we also got out of the hills okay. There's a logic to going to the Northern Highlands here, because even though the weather was extremely wintry coming in from the west, we actually managed to miss most of the precipitation that the rest of the country just got absolutely battered with. The following day we went across to Ben Hope, which was quite a long journey, and the night after Benmore Assynt I actually ended up feeling pretty ill. Not the worst in the world, but also not the best. But it had implications on eating and appetite and energy and all this sort of stuff, and it all actually got quite unpleasant. So to add to bad weather, you've also got all these issues going on as well. We went to Ben Hope, which is the most northerly Munro, escaping the storms essentially. I have to say, Sutherland felt an incredibly empty landscape driving up there to the north. And again, I've been there before, but there, midwinter, nobody about. Felt pretty empty. And we took a walk up to the top of Ben Hope in a blizzard, back again, no problem. And in a moment I said to Helen, oh, would you mind dropping me at the bottom of Ben Clibrec? Because yeah, it could go today, I could do it. And she said, well, she was good with it. I took some time to think about it, and I thought I probably only just could, but I was halfway up Ben Clibrec in the afternoon, and I just, no energy. I actually just felt completely destroyed. Yeah, I don't really know what happened, but it had a lot to do with the lack of appetite. And so we headed off again, and I headed back to Ben Clibrec the next day. And it was certainly a bit of effort to get it done, and it felt like it had taken a couple of days just to get one Munro, but again, you just have to go through this process. I think it'll be a nice day. I got to the summit, but I didn't feel good at all. Just felt really low, low in energy, no power. For a while I was worried that this lack of power was because I was getting into a state of overtraining somehow, and I had kind of unwittingly stepped over the line. But I decided no matter what happens, I was so empty of calories, I was so empty of energy on the top of Ben Clibrec that it almost started to feel risky. battered. If you're working against hard conditions in the hills, you have to match it with energy, you have to give battle essentially, and if you can't do that then you're stuffed. And on Ben Clebrick I had no energy, and so you can't fight it, you can't resist it. And yeah, it says no matter what I'll take a day off. So I took a day off the following day. Really didn't do very much at all. It was quite frustrating actually, because you're trying to get forward in this challenge and just everything's working against you. Weather, energy, you're being denied getting into the big hills and getting the progress made because just nothing's going the way you want it. But the following day, with the Northern Highlands complete, I headed to Glen Shiel and did 3 Munros in the east of the Glen, north of Loch Clooney. The main one is Scoon and Conyeren. And in kind of suboptimal weather, I got round these Munros absolutely fine. It was the test case, it was trying to come back, I give them a shot, and yeah, the rest day did me wonders. It really was good for me, and I ended up going around the hills and just feeling like, oh, this is me, I'm back. Great. Finally back to just feeling like normal. It's a bit of a relief. I've not really been entirely myself for a few days. And yeah, 3 done today, so that's my 3rd. And I'm happy to head back. Yeah, just back. So the following day I set my sights on the 7 Munros of the South Glen Shiel Ridge, and again in high winds, blizzards, heavy showers, risk of lightning. It's so gratifying to go and do 7 like that and feel like I'm back to normal. I walked back into the Clooney and I was like, yes, we're back. Back in the big days, back in the big numbers, and kind of where I want to be, even if the weather's still not cooperating. The following day, with the rivers absolutely raging from overnight rain and snowmelt, James Seaman and I headed to Ben Screal.
The Bulgin!
A bit of film there, hey, yes. Not bad actually, a bit of film behind the wheel.
Alright. Right, where are we going, Kevin?
We are going to Arnisdale.
Arnisdale.
Short of Arnisdale to go and climb Ben Screal. 1 Munro sitting on its own. So we headed up this sort of West Ridge, up from the coast. The mountain is a brutal climb.
How's it going, man?
Hey.
It's fucking steep.
Yeah. Oh, bad down there.
Yeah.
Straight up 3,000 feet to the summit, and actually all went absolutely okay. The absence of real true winter conditions made everything feel so much easier. Just not having to worry about the snow or blizzarding or avalanche and things like that. It was fine in the end. Nice one.
Nice, man.
Last night I was asleep in the van and thunder went off very close by, and it was really a shock. Like it wasn't a rumble, it was just like a bang bang, and I just sat upright, bolt upright, real adrenaline coursing. And then when I drove into Glen Shiel, the weather was just horrendous, like torrential rain showers, and the van was just getting rocked from side to side. And I thought, you're never going to get up the hills in this. So it was less of a decision and more no decision. I've actually not done a hill today, simply because of the severity of the conditions, and it's just maintained windy all day. My options are narrowing and narrowing, and the possibility to keep using up small options continues to diminish. I can chop days up, I'd rather not do that, but it's starting to happen. And yeah, it's not a consequence of fitness, it's not ability, it's just simply saying that I can't reasonably do these big days with a reasonable margin of safety. I'm pulling every single lever I can to keep moving with pace, and it's just difficult. So until the weather changes, I'm kind of limited in what I can do without overstepping the line. But it looks like the next coming week is also going to be quite challenging. So we'll see where we end up.